Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Today's video is going to be my planner graveyard for 2021 thus far. So every year for a while now, I've been doing a planner graveyard, and I try to do it at the same time of the year, at the end of June, beginning of July, because 6 months of the year is over and we are halfway through, and I can't believe it's already that time. Every time I'm always shocked. It's crazy. But I thought I would share with you kind of the planner graveyard that I have, which I'm very proud of this year because it's not so much a planner graveyard. I'm still utilizing everything that I have. Usually I abandon things completely. And actually I have abandoned one thing and I think you'll be pretty surprised by that. All right, so let's start with what I planned on using at the beginning of this year. I was Hobonichi heavy, and I was going to be a 3-time Hobonichi champion. I had my Hobonichi weeks, which it's an oldie but a goodie. And then I had my Hobonichi cousin in A5 size, which is like, oh, you guys, it's such a phone book. I don't even know if you can say that anymore. Phone books are even thick anymore since everyone has cell phones and what have you, but it feels like a phone book. It was a dumb idea. We'll get into that. And the third one is a new one as well, which is the day-free calendar by Hobonichi. So Hobonichi paper, if you didn't know, is all Tomo River paper, and it drives me insane because I love it. It's crinkly, it's Bible-y thin, it ghosts a lot, which doesn't bother me as much. The thing that bothers me is a lot of pens don't dry very fast on this paper. It sits on top of the paper and it smears like crazy. And I'm a lazy planner and I'm a writer and I need things to just be written down and move on. I don't have time for things to dry. So I started using a friction pen to get around that, and I fell in love with this one. This is the Biz 2. I will link it down below. In the metal body, I believe this is aluminum, but I will link it down below. The only thing that annoys me about this pen is the design of the eraser. It hides underneath this little twisty cap, so it's all black, and I unscrewed that and I put it in my drawer and I leave it there because I got really tired of unscrewing it and screwing it back on, and I was afraid I was going to lose it. So other than that, I love it. It comes with 2 different colors. But of course, I only have 2 black in here, and people probably think that's funny. Why 2 black? Because these are very skinny. And so it happened to me actually last month when I had to exchange the one that was already all run out. I was at the library, I was writing with the pen, and I ran out of black ink, but I had a second one in here. So that's sort of how I use it, because I don't use color for anything else really. I'm just black all the way. So let's start with what worked about each of these planners and what didn't. So I usually get a Hobonichi every year. The one year I didn't, I regretted it. There was, I think, 2 years I didn't get a Hobonichi, and one of them I gave in and I bought it halfway through and half of it was wasted. But I missed it so much. Every year, I don't know why, I try to make this my main planner. It doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me as a main planner. It's usually like a planner where I choose to keep one thing in it. Usually it was my reading, especially with my niece Jade. Whenever we read together, we'd keep words in here. Words that she couldn't pronounce, we'd write down and we'd study them. Words she could pronounce but didn't know the definition for, and it was just vocab, and it was really helpful. We now keep that in something else, and she's old enough that she keeps it on her own, which is nice. So I didn't really know what to do with this after I abandoned this as my main planner. I made it really pretty. I even bought this washi tape from Simply Gilded just to make a page like this, because I always see people do this, and it was a hot mess to do, but it was really pretty. I never opened the front of this book ever. So that's what I learned about that. Yeah, but it's really beautiful, and I spent some monies, doing all of this, printing things out, buying tabs and whatnot, and it is what it is. Lesson learned. This could never be my main planner, but I'm sure at some point every year I'm going to try to make it that way. And the reason for it mostly isn't that it's not I mean, it's a planner that can hold a lot. I think really because I am a seasonal planner, there are just periods when I need to plan a lot and write a lot, and this doesn't work. And there's also times when I need to compartmentalize, and no matter what, I have to keep things separately. I just have to, even though they can all fit in the same place. It's just, you know, who I am. So this is currently my personal planner. I don't share it. I just keep, you know, things like my cycle and, you know, other stuff that I might need to talk to a doctor about. Issues with back pain, good days, bad days, icing and heat on certain areas, and what worked and what didn't. Really boring stuff nobody cares about. I don't even want to do, but I do it because I learned that it helps me in the long run. And so that's kind of what I do with this. I also carry it with me everywhere I go, just because I like having a planner for forward planning. So if I'm out and about and somebody, you know, they ask me, hey, what about this date for this? I can go ahead and have an actual planner that has all of that information, unlike my bullet journal, because I, you know, plan as I go. So this I continue to use. I will probably get next year as well. I just need to stop trying to make it my everyday planner. It doesn't work that way. This was a hot mess because this is the first time I ever tried to have the whole year in one place, and I like the idea of that. I did buy this cover new from a company. I will link that down below. So I put a little bit of money into it, not too much. I did buy some tabs, so there's some money there. This was pretty much a waste of money, just because I abandoned it right away. Now here's the thing. I abandoned it? That doesn't sound correct. Anyway, I have dailies in here, monthlies and weeklies. Here's the issue I have. If I use the dailies, which I did a lot, I never used the weeklies. If I use the weeklies, I never use the dailies. I couldn't manage to use all three. And I tried to give each of the three categories, because there's monthlies in here as well, its own thing. Right? I was like, this can be for this, and the weeklies can be for something else that you want to track. And then I was like, the dailies can be for something else. And it just never worked out. I ended up packing everything on the daily or on the weekly or on the monthly, and it was just stupid. So there's that. Also, I'm revising my novel right now, and I was finishing up writing the novel, and I thought I would have a lot more notes. And I find that I like to do my notes more actually in a Word document on a computer. So yeah, this didn't work out. Currently, I'm doing my Duolingo in here, which is perfectly fine. I had a goal this summer of starting to read actual books in Spanish, and I've kind of put that on hold because I've been so busy. I don't want to say busy, I've been productive, which is fantastic, on my novel. So this has kind of been put on hold, but it will all get used. And it doesn't matter that it's not going to get used, maybe not even in the year or the month that it's actually marked as, because you can use these like a bullet journal, and these can just be the page numbers and you can refer to things. So that's how I will continue to use it. I have a lot of notes in Duolingo, so it's nice to have one big notebook all in one place, and it doesn't have to leave the house, which is even nicer, because now that we're out of COVID, at least in the state of Colorado, we're at the tail end. I don't want to carry this shit around, especially in summer. It is heavy and stupid. Also, you can't pair it with much, all right? I thought I could pair this with this other very thin. It's probably half of what the cousin is, the Days Free, the Day Free. And it's just a brick, and it's stupid, and it doesn't fit in a lot of the covers that I have, where I usually pair two A5 sized kind of notebooks. So it's my fault. I'd never tried it before. I failed in the Avec version, which is 6 months in one book and 6 months in the other. So I thought, yeah, give the year a go. That was funny. If I ever try this again, I probably would have more success if I got the Avec version, but I'm just kind of over it now that I don't think at this point, halfway through the year, I want to try this next year, which is ridiculous because I will change my mind in a week. Who knows? And the last one of the Hobonichi is the Day Free, which looks like this. Has a monthly in the front, so if you don't like drawing things out, this book is probably for you. And then it has like the bullet journal style where it already has the numbers, and I appreciate that because I'm a lazy planner and I don't want to draw that out. And a cute little fox illustration of him getting stuck in a bag, or if you go the other way, getting out of a bag. So this was cool. Again, there's that line that I have that brain block about. Also, 4mm grid for all of these. I have large handwriting. I'd rather have 5 or, 6.5 lines. It is what it is. And again, I only can use my friction pen on here. And when I'm writing my actual words, I don't want that in friction pen. Even though I've never had any problems with things disappearing, I don't want it in friction pen because I have books that I've had with my writing since kindergarten, and I don't know that a friction pen can hold that up. So there's that. So my last thoughts on the Hobonichi is I will definitely get this again. I really would like to do this again. I ended up doing this as my reference notebook for this year. I thought what I would want is to have a reference notebook separate from my bullet journal so that this stuff would always stay the same and I could just switch out the planning stuff, right? Because I hate rewriting this stuff. I never open this because it's not in here. So that was another experiment kind of gone awry. I still refer to stuff that's in here though. I just don't update it. So it's kind of, yeah, it wasn't necessary, but next time I think I would give this a go as a regular bullet journal and I think it would work out fine. I also would probably pair it with not another one of these, but they have, I think, the blank notebook. I don't know if the page numbers are numbered, but they do have a blank version that I might pair it with so that I can have all of it in the same place. Yeah, I don't know. These do fit together, by the way, in here and in my covers. I just don't prefer to carry it like that. I don't like my 1917 with a cover on it. I don't know why. And it's not meant to have a cover, that's why it has a hardcover. And I like carrying it like this, especially because I can just shove it in like my crossbody bag that I like to use in the summertime. And I have to worry about this getting stuck on things and bulking things up. I don't know. It's where I am in life right now. I also started out the year with a traveler's notebook in standard size. This is what I was talking about earlier. I abandoned that thing 3 times. I can't believe it. Usually I come back to a traveler's notebook. Not this year. This year your girl was like, I don't know what to do with you. I tried it 3 times. 3 times I had to let go of it. And that was just so sad. And I didn't know how to feel about that. Normally I abandoned bullet journals, but I kept coming back to these this year. So much so that I bought another one for the next part of the year, or at least the next quarter, which is crazy. So what I'm going to be using for the next quarter are these 2 right here. And that's mostly because I have been using a bullet journal. I've been in and out of this since March when I did my 1 month in my Bujo challenge. I was doing a Frankenlog light system in here and I loved it. I don't know, I felt like I was super productive in here. I learned a lot about myself and what I liked. I forget in the beginning here I have some journaling, and that was one thing I learned, that I didn't like my journaling in here, so I took it out. I did some other things like putting wordage in here, which I loved, and I was able to collage things. I also did other stuff like keeping track of books that I was reading, just little things that would help me remember what the book was about. Sometimes, like, when a book's main theme really jumps out at me, I will remember that about the book, but I'll forget the character names. Or sometimes the characters were really great and I'll remember that, but I won't remember like a lot of the other stuff. So it was nice to have a little bit of everything. The character names, a little bit about the themes, when it was published, what POV it was written in. And so I've continued to do this and I really, really liked having this. I tried to do dailies in here where I just went with the flow. So I didn't make boxes or anything like that. It's like when the day ended, the next one began. And some days I would use a full page, some days I wouldn't. I went back and I put stickers to kind of make them a little bit more cheerful because they were very plain Jane, but that's what I like. Here is another book I read, Girl on the Train, and this was a reread. I liked it because it has a POV of 3 different characters. And I'm also working on a novel, not currently, but one that I've written that I'm going to be revising soon, where I did 5 POVs. And I just wanted to make sure that it was going to work well enough that it's not going to confuse people. And this was a really great example of how POV can be done without confusing the reader. So let's catch up with the current month and style. I've already done a flip through of this. This is this week. I did the vertical layout because I had less things to do in the summertime, so I didn't need a whole page, and this was really working nice. I'd have my tests here, and then down here is my journaling. Over to the side is what I want to be focusing on for that week, and it's a little different than my main focus. These are more like goal-oriented things that have a lot of steps, whereas this is sort of how I break down these things into smaller steps and like small things like gas. You know, I just need to get gas this week. And I don't feel like I need to write that on the focus. Now we're at a situation here, and this does go with the planner graveyard, because it's like, when do you abandon a journal, a planner? That's like sometimes the question. Is it like, do you push through because you paid for it? Do you push through because you're in some kind of rut or something, and you just, if you push through, you're going to get through it and it's going to be fine and you'll be able to continue on? So right now, my struggle is this. One Book July is next month, and I like the idea of starting this bullet journal in July because I get to start at the halfway point of the year, as well as a new whole 3-month quarter in one bullet journal. Well, if I'm going to do One Book July, I probably want to start my week in the new bullet journal, and there are 3 extra days at the end of June where the week starts. So I didn't know what to do here. I was like, when do I abandon you? So here's the end of a full week on the 27th, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so 3 days of the week will be in here, and then 4 will be in here. That sounds crazy. So I went ahead and I put it in here to see how I felt about it. I didn't even make a weekly chart because I'm thinking about making these a little different or trying something slightly different. Still chewing on that idea. So I went ahead and I put them in here without the chart for this week, because I don't like the idea of having to make those charts twice. You know what I mean? Like, making this is not necessarily a chart, it's just a list. And this chart, even though it's not that serious and it doesn't take a lot of time, I don't like the idea of that. So I had my weekly over here in case I needed to write more things. I folded this in half so I could see this one versus this one. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel, and I was already running out of space because I got so much stuff done that I can write it here as well. I don't know how I feel. So I know that there's enough space in here for me to do the month of July. I don't think I'll be able to do August in here. Certainly won't be able to fit an entire quarter, because in the back here, this is where like my collections and stuff start. And all of this stuff in the front is done. So I definitely am going to be starting in a bullet journal. I don't have any plans to move into a traveler's notebook. It just wasn't working for me. I kept messing around with things. I couldn't decide on the inserts or the layouts or anything else. And I was like, screw it. July is going to be very busy for me because I think I am going to participate in One Book July. I think I'm also going to be doing some other challenge for health with my niece. We're going to talk about it coming up this weekend. And then I'm going to be doing Camp Nano. I'm going to be doing revisions, which is stupid because you're going to try to do a word count when you're revising. It's out of control. But I'm only doing 10,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're revising. Like, I might read 3 chapters and not have a lot to revise. I might even cut words. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also sizing down because I usually do in the summer, and I'm going to be using this Moleskine. It's in denim, which is so beautiful. I love the way it feels and the way it sounds. This is what I'm going to be calorie counting in because that's a personal thing. I don't really have enough space in here for the dailies because it has, yeah, that's not enough space for me to put things that I really need to write down and calculate stuff. So I'm going to use this. It's just, you know, lines. In the back, I have it bullet journal style. So I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have a page for each. And I've written out 3 easy meals with the calories already counted, kind of like a food builder. So, you know, I can go to those. Those are the ones that I use the most. And anytime I'm not sure, I'm like, I don't know what to make, I can always, you know, refer to those days and be like, just eat something simple, Sylvia. So that's what I'm going to be keeping in here. I'm also using a Papermate Inkjoy in a 0.5 because I love this pen. And it fits, again, in my crossbody bag very liked to carry both of these and nothing else. I carry a little bit of lip gloss and my cell phone. So that's all I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year. Maybe at some point I'll get over what's happening with the traveler's notebooks. I don't know, because I had planned on being in a pocket size and carrying this in a pocket size with some other notebooks. I didn't like the way it looked. I just like these without any cover on them, and they're hardcover, so I don't know. Even though I've pretty much abandoned these three things for what they were originally going to be for, I still am using them. This one not as much, but I'm still referring to them, and I'm writing on those pages. This one, of course, Duolingo is going to continue in here, so it will get used. This one I am currently actually using, and it still is technically a planner that I use exactly how it's already set up, but again, it's just for personal stuff. This will be finished by the end of June, or maybe a couple of days sooner. I'm going to continue with my friction pen because I love it so much. And I'm going to keep in notebooks for this year, which is so strange to me, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the simplicity of it. I love that I can't take things out and put things in because I don't have time for that in my life. I just need it to work the way I need it to work. And being in a traveler's notebook for some reason, for me personally, means that I have to add things and tinker around with it, and I just don't have the time. So that is my planner graveyard in a nutshell. What I started off with, why it worked, and why some of it didn't, what I'm currently using, and what I will be using. Alright, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.